Aloha from Maui. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. So there's a concept from physics called the law of sympathetic vibration, which we can apply to magical work and to manifestation. The easiest way to understand it is if you have two tuning forks and both are tuned, they're the same tuning fork to the key of, let's say, G, and you strike one tuning fork and it vibrates, the other tuning fork in proximity to it will sympathetically vibrate, having not been struck. All right, so the idea is like attracts like. Similar vibration attracts similar vibration. Pretty simple concept. And you know from your own life that the things that you have manifested, on some level you are in vibratory rapport with. That on some level your inner world matches that outer thing that you've created, as within, so without. That's the law of sympathetic vibration. But here's the deal. How do we manifest something where we do not have that vibration? Because why would we, if we're manifesting manifesting something and it has not yet come into being, we do not vibrate at its frequency. This is where the imagination comes in with magic. And this is where you can use your imagination and your empathic attunement to start to create that vibration inside you. So this is a very old shamanic technique called shapeshifting, or grokking is another word for it. The Hawaiians have a word kulike, which means to conform or to identify, to become like. And so the idea is when you look at someone, let's say someone who has achieved the very thing that you want, they've attained that thing, they're there, they've manifested it, they've created it, and you look at them and you attune to empathically, imaginatively, how do they see the world? How do they think of themselves? How do they treat their coworkers? What do they put in their mouth? What is their worldview? And you empathically attune with that and imagine into it. You might also do research if it's someone that you can research. But the idea is that you look at the thing that you want, and you find that thing, the essence of that thing from inside it, through your own imagination. And your version of its genius begins to come to the fore, and you start vibrating at the same frequency of that very thing that you want. So I have done this a lot in my life. It's a simple manifestation technique, but it's really helpful. But it requires that you actually stay at it, because to build a vibration that isn't there that's the work. That's the discipline of magic. So I remember before I moved to Maui, there was this show on HGTV called Hawaii Life. It was like 19 seasons of all these episodes of people moving to Hawaii, and I watched that thing, and I watched every episode 3 times, and what I was watching was the people, and how they were thinking of themselves, how they were reacting to the price tag of what it is that they were buying, the kind of people who were adventurous enough or bold enough who would move here, the kind of people who had the means to do that, and why they wanted to be here, and what was it about this lifestyle that made them bite the bullet and do that. And I watched them, and I attuned, because I did not have the vibration of living on Maui inside me. I was not in sympathetic vibration with living on Maui. Now I am. But by watching that, I created that vibration in myself to such an extent that when the time came for me to bite the bullet and move to Maui, I was already vibrating similarly. Same holds true in becoming a spiritual teacher. So I wasn't always a spiritual teacher. But what I did was I identified the ones that I thought were good and the ones I thought were effective, the ones that were ethical, the ones that I thought presented well, and I sat next to them or I observed them. Again, I imaginatively attuned based on what I was observing and what I learned from them and learned from their teachings about what their inner life might be. And that's really important. It's just what it might be. Because when you enlist your imagination to become like a thing, that begins to grow inside you. And now I sympathetically vibrate with spiritual teacher, and spiritual teacher presents itself to the outside world. So the law of sympathetic vibration, and when you don't have it, you imagine into it. One last thing I'll say. A lot of times when we recognize someone who has what we want, not only do we not attune with them, but we separate ourselves from them. And we say, that's not me. And we double down on the fact that we are not that. We may even have jealousy or envy of that person. Again, a separation. I often joke that when I teach at the Omega Institute, there's always one person who stands in the back of the class with their arms folded, thinking they should teach the class. And I know that they will never teach a class at the Omega Institute because they are pulling themselves away from the very thing that they want. Whether or not you like me or not, I'm the guy in front of the room teaching the class. What did he do to get there? How is he holding himself? How is he presenting himself? How is he treating his assistants? How is he treating his colleagues? What's he saying? Does he feel confident? All of those things. And so when you imaginatively attune to another, to become like it, which is what the shamans do with all the beings in the natural world, that the ayahuasca brew became because someone imagined that bark plus that plant, those things will somehow go together to create this potent hallucinogen, because they attuned with something that was not them to such an extent that they got inside it and learned of its qualities. And that is a shamanism, a shamanic technique at its finest. And so I invite you into that. The law of sympathetic vibration. Enjoy your day. Aloha.